This podcast is intended for informational purposes only and should not replace professional mental health care. If you are in crisis, please contact your local emergency number or the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 988. What's up, y'all? Welcome to Hello Human, your resource for grounded guidance and staying connected with yourself and each other in these digital times. I am Dr. Joy.
And I am Aaron Jones, LMFT.
That's right. And welcome to our very first episode.
Welcome, y'all. Happy to have you here. Thanks for having us.
So, in these digital times, we are increasingly disconnected and distracted by all the things that we're constantly consuming and things that are being pushed onto our timelines and everywhere we are when we're online, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So we really want to take some time to explore the various ways that shows up, but more specifically, what are some things that we can do to stay grounded? We're going to be providing practical tips and personal insights and professional advice or guidance, I should say, around what are some skills, some tools, some resources you could be using, right?
Yeah, because the people need resources out there, right?
People need resources is correct.
Good.
So with that in mind, before we get into what the people need, I got to make sure that we check on each other.
Right. We get to get what we need.
We get to get what we need
before we give the people what they need.
Right,
okay,
that's right.
Absolutely. I like it. Well, the first thing that we want to start with, and we're going to start with this every show, folks, so we want to introduce this segment to you. This segment is called a temperature check. I don't know how many of you have put this practice into your own life or whatnot, but what we're doing here with the temperature check is we just want to check in with each other. See how you've been doing this week, create some space, create some pause, create some intention, and then flow into what we got to do for the show. So let me tell you how this is going to go. Okay, I got a question for you, Dr. Joy.
Okay, let's do it.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay, all right, it's going to be a good one. Okay, so for this week, on a scale of brand new sneakers out the box to somebody that just stepped on them, how you doing this week?
First of all, I immediately feel that.
You felt it?
I like my sneakers.
I thought you were going to feel
it. And where I am right now is maybe they're not brand new out the box.
Okay.
But these are one of my favorite pairs.
Okay, the favorite pair.
So, I'm not really tiptoeing too much. Sometimes you don't want to get the crease in your sneaker. I'm not really on that. But don't get too close.
Don't get too close.
Don't step
not this week. Don't step on my shoes this week.
Not this time.
I'm in flow. I got my favorite sneakers on.
Exactly.
I'm out here doing my thing.
Exactly.
I need a little space.
Just a little room.
Got it.
Give me 50 feet.
Oh, yeah. Got it. Got the 50 feet.
Okay, what about you? Where you at?
Ooh, that's such a good question. You know what I'm going to have to say? I am brand new sneakers right out of the box. Fresh out the box. And let me tell you. Okay, people, this is my very first time doing anything like this. And this is our first episode of the show. So I'm excited to be here. I don't really know how it's going to go. So these are brand new sneakers out the box. And what I'm hoping for is a wonderful sneaker experience, okay? For everybody that understands what I'm saying here, I'm hoping that as I'm wearing these shoes, there ain't no awkward creases in my toes and that they don't rub on the back of my heel, you know what I mean? Because they're brand new. This is brand new. Yeah. And I want to break it in nice and easy, you know what I mean?
Well, I appreciate you allowing me to be with you on this journey.
Oh, thank you.
The first steps you're taking in your brand new sneakers.
Hey, thank you.
Shout out to you for
thank
that.
You, Dr. Joy. I appreciate that. And shout out to you for putting me on. I can't believe it. It's a wonderful opportunity. I'm really happy to be here.
Can't imagine doing this with a better partner.
Oh.
All right. So now that we've checked in with each other, which, again, in this time where, it's easy to follow people online.
Yes.
And to think what's going on with them. Assume based on what they post.
They
good. Mm-hmm. Get with your people in real life and check on them, please.
Real life check-ins are important.
Check on your people in real life. Really. So I'm glad to know you're doing well.
I am.
And excited.
Thank you.
Nervous a little bit about wearing your new sneakers, but excited. You're playing your first day of school outfit with your new sneaks.
I'm here. I'm here, and I'm showing up, and I'm ready to go.
I love it. So now that we've checked in with one another, I think it's important to also give an idea of what the feeling is of this episode. And
absolutely.
Again, recognizing that part of our intention here is to provide insight around how folks can stay connected and grounded in themselves. And one of the things that is so important to me that I share with my clients and that I do for myself is develop language to name what I'm feeling.
Absolutely. That's really, really
right.
important.
And sometimes there's words, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling upset, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling excited, I'm feeling joyous, I'm feeling happy.
Absolutely.
There's all these words that already exist. And sometimes we don't quite have a word to describe how we're feeling.
That's true. That's
Especially
true. It happens to me quite a lot.
All the time. And
Yeah,
so especially in this digital world where things are changing so rapidly, trying to grasp a hold of what we are experiencing, how we're feeling and responding to it can sometimes feel like an evasive process of like, I don't even know what's going on. I just know that I'm feeling a little off.
Absolutely.
right? So
absolutely.
With this segment, this episode feels like I'm going to take a little bit of liberty here. I'm going to take a little liberty.
Episode feels like.
This episode feels like.
That's a nice question. That's a juicy question.
This episode feels like. I'm going to take a little bit of liberty here.
Okay.
I am going to use this space to create my own language, my own vocabulary.
Watch out, y'all. Watch out. She making her own language,
episode hey, listen. You got to do it.
You got to do
whatever you need to understand what
I'm
you're
so
dealing
excited.
with.
I'm fired
and to
up.
help you communicate that. So here's the word that this episode feels like to me.
Okay.
And I'm curious to know, what do you think this means?
Okay.
This episode feels like scramble shifting.
Scramble shifting.
What is that? What do you think that means? Just based on the word itself, how do you interpret? What does scramble shifting feel like?
Scramble shifting. Give me a minute to kind of feel that in my body
for a second. And
sit with
and
it.
I want you in the audience, people listening, people watching, what does scramble shifting mean to you? Maybe you think about writing it in a sentence or, guess. Just take a guess. What does scramble shifting mean?
For me, I think scramble shifting means an ability to be flexible.
Okay.
Right? Because how I'm feeling this in my body is sometimes life will scramble you about, throw you some curveballs, right? I woke up this morning thinking I was going to do something, right? And it doesn't really matter. This is any given morning, right? And it just doesn't quite work out the way that you planned it. So you have to be able to pivot, right? And pivoting is really important, right? And when I think about this, I think about a word like being nimble.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
That's a really impactful word for me because if I'm nimble, then I'm never really stuck in a particular situation. Right? So nimble to me feels like, I'm literally scrambling here, right? Because things aren't quite going the way that I want them to go. But how am I going to turn this around?
Okay.
Right. So I got the scramble.
Yes.
Then I got the shift.
And then you got the shift.
Yeah. What kind of shift do I need? Do I need a mental shift?
And so
do I need an emotional shift?
This is what I love. This is what I love. And you're really spot on because remember, I made this word up.
Yeah.
Which means I also made up a definition. But
she did.
I wanted to check in with you to see how you are interpreting that. And I really love what you're saying. And I think it's a perfect segue into our topic, which we'll jump into in a second. But the reason why is because you feel the scramble.
You feel it.
And then what I hear you saying is you're taking a moment to assess what's happening and then decide how you want to shift.
That is exactly right.
When we get into sort of sharing some of the more practical things, I think we'll move into that. But before we do that, let me share with you my definition because I want to just give folks, again, create space for us to develop language around how we talk about what we're experiencing right now collectively. So my definition of scramble shift is change that is driven by fear and not clarity.
Fear. Got it.
And it's about chasing trends and not checking in.
Okay.
And so
that's a word, ain't it? That's a word.
You're literally shifting.
Okay.
But in a scramble.
Okay.
You're scrambled up and you're trying to shift. And so I feel like when we're talking about redefining ourselves in real time and reinventing ourselves in real time, if we're not grounded in something, we will be scrambled up, shifting all over the place. But what I hear you saying in your interpretation, which I love so much, is that it's okay to feel scrambled, but that in that you have to find a sense of groundedness that will cause you to sort of put an anchor or a stake in the ground and say, okay, I'm feeling scrambled. Now what? Where do I need to shift? Is it a mental shift, emotional shift? Is it an environmental shift? What is the shift? And that is where we differentiate. If the question is, am I panicking or pivoting? I think the differentiator in this instance is pausing to check in and reflect, what does the shift need to be, as opposed to just doing something because you feel like you got to do anything. You just got to do something now.
I absolutely agree with that. And I'm really feeling that. So the imagery that's kind of coming up for me is somebody that's caught, maybe in a tornado or something, right? So if you can think about being unanchored in a tornado and it's going round and round and round again, right?
Yeah.
So as opposed to that, what I think is helpful is to stand in the eye of the storm.
Right.
Be rooted, be grounded, because things are going to spin around you, right? That's just something that's a natural part of life. Things are going to happen. Things are going to be spinning around you all the time, right? But I think we give ourselves an advantage when we allow ourselves to root in and root into the right things, right? And we'll be talking about that and really expanding on that as the show goes on. But being grounded and rooted in the right things is important.
And so I think you're right that we are going to be discussing that. And what's so, I think, important to remember in this conversation is that right is relative.
Right is relative. Right? Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's not about do it like this, because there's enough people online. That's so much of why we do feel scrambled is that there's always some expert or influencer telling us this, and we're moving like that because we don't want to miss out and we don't want to get left behind, and all these things are going on. And so it's not about becoming another space where people are telling you what to do as much as it is providing guidance that helps you decide what to do based on what is true for you, which is, again, why I loved what you said, which is like, I'm feeling the scramble, but I'm going to ground myself and then check in and say, what is the shift that needs to happen? And the answer to that question is going to be rooted in things like your values, your intentions, your vision for where you want to go, or your compass for how you want to feel. And those are the types of things that are going to inform the shift that you make in the moment, as opposed to getting caught up in the storm and in the whirlwind of ideas about what you think you should be doing. And I don't want to miss out, or I don't want to get left behind, or I don't want to be irrelevant, or this new thing is happening and I got to be over here. And there's so much, like there's so many platforms that have coming on that I just never even... I wasn't a Vine. I didn't do the Snapchat. I'm not on TikTok.
It took me a long time to get on board.
I'm not doing it. It's too much.
I get it.
And the question I'm always like, the reason why, sort of, the question I always ask myself is, for what?
For what?
Literally for what? Like, get on the next platform for what? Because I'm going to guarantee you, all the people that follow me who are also on those platforms are just going to go then follow me there. And I'm probably just going to repurpose my content. So what are we doing? Adding in another thing to do for what? Right? And so, but that's me using my compass, if you will, for how I decide how I engage with these platforms, which ones I actually build on and which ones I don't. Like, I have my own internal compass for who I am, what I'm doing, what my message is, why it matters to me, how I want to share it, and recognizing that we have to build practices and processes that are sustainable for us, for any change. If I'm reinventing myself, that in order for that process to stick, in order for that to be impactful for me or anybody else, there has to be a sustainable process. And if I'm trying to be everywhere all at once, who am I really serving?
Right. And if I'm trying to be everywhere all at once, am I ever anywhere at one time?
Okay. Now, let me sit with that for a second. If I'm trying to be everywhere, am I ever anywhere?
I hit her with it.
If I'm trying to be everywhere, am I ever anywhere?
At one time. And that's what this digital space really does to people. I think it really stretches us beyond our capacity a lot of times, right? Yeah. And I can tell that that's maybe how you're feeling just from the way that you were talking about it, right?
Yeah.
See, what the people don't know is Dr. Joy is an old pro. She's been at this a long time. I'm brand new. So what the people are gonna witness is I'm gonna build my online presence, and she already has hers. So we're gonna see how this works out. She's a pro. Y'all hear that word she gave y'all? It's so good, okay? And one of the things I think is super important in that, Dr. Joy, and you're hitting you're hitting the nail directly on the head. Like, we do have to know these things about ourselves.
Absolutely.
And it's not always easy, folks. So it's not like we woke up yesterday and knew all these things, right? It's something that you have to spend time with yourself. It's something that you have to cultivate and find and relax into.
Yep.
It's not something that's going to come automatically. But the way that this online world is designed, particularly with AI coming up and things of that nature, which is heavily what our podcast is about, is how do we stay rooted and grounded in the things that are important to us when we have so many things fighting and stretching for our attention?
Yeah.
When what our life often demands is eat what's on your plate.
Ooh.
One thing at a time. Do this, then do that.
Eat what's on your plate, because now we're talking imagery. You mentioned the tornado earlier. I'm going to give you my the image that just came in my mind when you said that. Because I like to eat. I'm not even going to. I'm not going to hold you. And sometimes you may have experienced this. Maybe you're at the cookout or, whatever. You have something and you got to, before you have eaten the mac and cheese.
I already know.
And before you even got to the yams, you like,
I already know.
I got to double back on this mac.
I already know.
Because wait a minute.
Yep.
Right? And how are we then determining, because it's not going to look the same across the different seasons of our lives. And we will have to, the shift will be different according to our answer to the question of what we're trying to achieve or what we're moving towards and what feels most true in a given moment, right? So it's not like we can create this rigid rule, like do it like this. So I am more interested in how are we developing a sense? What I love what you said is like, this is something you become aware of over time as you build a relationship with yourself. And so some of the things you might consider when you are trying to make a decision about how to move in these digital spaces and which platforms to use and what that looks like and what is your message and why does it matter and all of those things that you may be, thinking about, and maybe it's not even message, right? Because that's not even, it's an assumption that everybody's using these platforms because they have a message. Maybe some people are using it simply to be present and to stay connected to other people's messages, right?
Yeah.
And so the point is, even if you are on these platforms as a consumer, which we all are to some degree, and I think some of us maybe have other intentions or other just the way that we use this space is maybe more so tied to maybe our professional endeavors or whatever that is.
Absolutely.
Whereas some people are just like, I'm just
everybody
on here
has their own goals.
Post my outfits or whatever the things are, right?
And all of it can be okay.
And all of those things are okay. The invitation here is to be mindful in your use of these platforms. This is not about managing how you use it in terms of us telling you what to or not to do, as much as it is the invitation to be mindful. Whatever you're doing, can you be clear about that? Whoever you're following, however you're posting, whatever that means, because even, and this is especially true when you're building a brand, for instance, there's all this online content around when you got to post, how frequently you got to post, and what that means, and being present on the timeline. And it's
really
and all those
overwhelming.
It's so much.
Super overwhelming.
It's so
almost
much.
To the point to where, when you asked me to come and do this, it brought up so much energy for me, right? Like positive and negative. I was very curious about this whole process of doing this, but also like super nervous, right?
Okay.
Because once it's out there, it's kind of out there. And it's really, in the digital world, you can't really pull it back.
Yeah, that's true.
So I understand why people would be so intimidated by that, for sure. And you know what? It kind of. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No. I was just.
You look like you were cooking.
The thought that came up as you were saying that was, this is why it's so important. To your point about once it's out there, it's out there. We've seen people get canceled for tweets from 15 years ago. We've seen it, right? So once it's out there, it's out there. I think when we're talking about creating or leaning into a shift, right? And reimagining and reinventing ourselves in whatever way that is, whether that's in real life or online or some combination of the two. Part of what helps us to feel more confident in what we are putting out there, understanding that once it's out, right? It's out, is what is informing what you share and how you show up. If it's rooted in your values and things that you believe and hold to be true, then even if somebody disagrees, you're going to have an easier time standing your ground.
Absolutely.
Than if you're just spewing something because you're in the moment and you're not necessarily paying attention, and then you're like, whoopsie daisy, I shouldn't have said that, right?
Oh, absolutely. And Dr. Joy, I'm going to let that sit for a minute, but also, that brings up a really, really nice segue, right? So you introduced the first term, scramble shifting.
Yeah.
And, I kind of want to follow that up with what comes to mind for me is how do we connect to our inner compass?
Yep.
Right? And what that really means for folks to have a compass, first of all, to even know what a compass is, right? Because we don't want to take that for granted. Hey, listen, there are some people out there that probably never even seen a compass. And I'm being honest.
That's actually true. You're not wrong about that.
Right? So
we have digital navigating everything. We don't have to know how to do anything.
Right.
In a lot of ways.
In a lot of ways, we don't have to know anything about that. Right. But if we don't know, then we're putting so much trust into these digital and AI-based formats that once it leaves our kind of sphere of influence and our creative control, it really brings up some questions about what are things going to look like for the future.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I think you're right about that. And there's always going to be a little bit of uncertainty, right? Like we're not in control of all the things, but we do have some agency in the way that we show up, the decisions that we make. And I always say, I have many mantras. I'm sure I'll share them throughout our time together. But one of my mantras is you make your choices and then your choices make you.
Ooh, I like that.
Right?
I like that.
You make your choices and then your choices make you. So though we are not in control of everything, we do have agency over many things. And that is really going to come from the choices that we make. And so here's what I want to call the rooted reflection. Right? We've talked about sort of some of the angst that comes up when we're trying to figure out chasing trends and staying true to ourselves and checking in. And am I living in alignment with my values, or am I, feeling pushed into something and moving because I'm afraid to be left out or left behind? Or this can create that sense of scramble. Now you see how I'm coming from with the scramble shift concept. It can create this sense of like, what do I do? You feel shaken up. You feel scrambled inside. And so the rooted reflection, the thing that's going to help us stay grounded and anchored, again, is more like an invitation for you to think about when you find yourself making a choice, making a decision, and considering your next move. I want you to ask yourself, am I moving out of panic or am I moving into purpose? Am I moving out of panic or am I moving into purpose? And that's going to help you reflect on what is driving and informing your choice, and then give you the opportunity to pause, as you mentioned earlier, in the scramble before you shift, and make an informed and intentional choice about what that shift gets to be. Am I moving out of panic or am I moving into purpose?
Thank you for actually breaking that down, because that's not the same thing.
No,
it's really not. If I'm in a season in my life that's particularly tough, and I am suffering, right? And we've all been there.
Yeah.
The urge might be to immediately get out of that situation, right? But seeking instant relief from suffering is not the same as moving into my purpose.
Not at all.
Right.
Not at all.
And that is really, really important and really impactful, Dr. Joy. And I thank you for bringing that up, because it's an important kind of guideline for people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Moving to safety is not necessarily moving towards purpose, because I got to tell y'all, like, sometimes your purpose will involve you feeling a little uncomfortable and a little unsafe, right? And a little unsafe.
Absolutely.
So I think that needs to be said that, once we divine this purpose in our life and it's revealed, moving towards it is more than a simple notion. I mean, we really need to steel ourselves, because moving away from pain ain't the same as moving towards this thing with intention.
Yep.
Right? Guided by our values, guided by what we want out of life, guided by who we are.
Yes.
Guided by how we want to make impact on the world with intention.
Yep.
Right? So I think those things are uniquely important to think about. It's not about just getting out of the danger. Once I'm out of the danger and I'm stabilized, right, and I'm no longer in survival mode,
Right.
then how can I move forward? How can I move towards my purpose?
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Thank you for bringing that up. That was
Absolutely,
great. That was wonderful.
absolutely. So we hope that you will also reflect on this question when you think about making your next move, you're reinventing yourself. Am I moving out of panic or into purpose? And so with that, we want to make sure that we leave you with a final thought, something that you can hold on to until we meet again. And so take this with you. Take this with you. Take this with you. I move with clarity, confidence, and conviction in all that I do. Take that with you. And until we meet again, thank you so much. We did episode 1
Thank you,
in
Dr.
the
Joy. That
books.
was great. One
you can
down,
find us.
hopefully many to go.
Absolutely.
Really looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So if you want more of this and you want to just check out how we're moving on this journey, because we're in this in real time with y'all, by the way. We are in this in real time with y'all. So if you want to make sure that you stick with us and stay tuned to all the things that we both have coming up, then you can find me on social media. I'm really just on Instagram. I'm really just on Instagram. And you can find me there at JoyHearts, JoiHearts.
And you can find me at The Science of Medium, _Science of Medium. And I am on Instagram as well.
All righty.
All right.
I'll see you next time.
Dr. Joy. Thanks.